we've looked at the experience of non-duality. You've tried to state what non-duality is, and clearly there are tremendous limitations of the intellectual understanding of non-duality. But now we have a sense of the experience of this spaciousness and non-separation through experiments such as the one that we did. That's a good beginning. That's a good starting point. Now let's just backtrack and just go back to some of your early experiences and your background in yoga and in non-duality, and then we'll pick up again with the experiences of non-duality through your practice of being yoga. Just tell us something about your background, James.
Well, my background is really only important from the perspective of I'm an ordinary person. There's nothing special or extraordinary about me. I was born in a nondescript village in eastern Canada, and in the most eastern province of Canada, Newfoundland, and was educated mostly in St. John's and a little bit in Ontario and more central Canada, and came to yoga in the mid-70s. And like a lot of other folks, I came to yoga through the physical approach of yoga for basic activities of health and well-being, to become a bit more flexible. And I knew that somewhere within the practice of yoga there was this spiritual background and spiritual foundations that yoga is based on. Yet the thing that I was really most attracted to at the beginning was meeting new friends, socializing in a different way, and exploring the flexibility and other health benefits largely of yoga. And that's what allowed me to be connected with BKS Iyengar, and some of the things that you mentioned in the introductory comments here is that this is an extraordinary human being that I've had the privilege of studying directly with. And so as I connected with him, the practices of yoga for me got that much deeper. And yet Iyengar yoga had something lacking for me, because it made so much sense intellectually, and it was so physically presented largely by Western practitioners, not so much by BKS Iyengar himself, but largely by teachers that he had taught and people that I'd studied with in North America and in other parts of the world. I couldn't get past this feeling that something was missing, that there was something more to be understood in the practice of yoga, that many of the texts in BKS Iyengar himself certainly spoke about, and yet it wasn't being presented in the way that I was doing it. So I had a certain discontentment with the form of practice that I was doing, and that's what led me to John Klein. And John Klein is the person who introduced me to non-duality. And again, it is just like we were just going through in the previous experiment, it is experiential. So the connection with John Klein is he didn't give me a whole lot more intellectual information. His way was largely through silence, and his way of being is more what he described as a transmission of the flame. And so his very presence was an invitation to release all that which one has accumulated through book knowledge and intellectual understanding, and to simply come to a place where one is empty of oneself. And that spaciousness is really a presence that allows things to be seen as they are. And then functionality really happens in a way which is optimized through that practice, which means that when there isn't any distortion of that which is seen, things are seen accurately. And intelligent action just unfolds with a greater ease and a naturalness when there's a clarity in seeing. So my practices really are pretty straightforward in terms of I really am nobody special, and there was no, for me, bolt of lightning that came out of the sky and I'm all of a sudden enlightened or anything of that nature, and I don't have any great dramatic story as to how I came to live this understanding of non-duality. It's just simply something that makes a whole lot of sense to me, and it stood the test of time. And for now that I've been doing it for so-called a number of years, I find that there's an ease of being. I still have all the challenges and things of life as anybody else. Yet for me, they're welcome. Whatever shows up is welcome in a particular way that lets me see it as it is, and then I just take appropriate action for what needs to be done in the present moment.